Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syarafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, with the grace and the mercy and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're able to provide this free life coach training program through our Khalifa Education Foundation and our Islamic Psychology Center. You can learn about motivation, coaching, mentoring, counseling to help shape the future of the Ummah in the 21st century as we face many challenges that is beyond imagination actually. So what is important is that as this civilization, this carbon-based, fossil fuel-based civilization that is pumping billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, it is actually destroying this earth and we have no time left. That means certain tipping point within the climate change has already been breached, and if we are not able to bring down the carbon dioxide and make sure that the temperature rise is below 1.5 degrees Celsius, we will face a catastrophe within the next 100 years. It is beyond all imagination of all human beings on this earth. So you can go through our video on climate change and have given you a lot of warning from the various scientists who have been studying this for many years. And what is important is that we have to transform this civilization, a materialistic, secular, atheistic, greedy civilization, to a more balanced civilization, which is the deen of Islam. So we have to transform ourselves, our family, our ummah and society, and then the global level. So this is the duty of every Muslim, to positively develop our capacity to change. So we have this now, I have given on the climate issue. Now we have talking about Islam, the heart of love. And why this is important? Because this society, atheistic, materialistic life and civilization that we know for the last 200 years, that have been pumping in all the fossil fuel, that means we dig from this earth, is just like we every year we are blowing up one new volcano in terms of carbon dioxide, in terms of sulfur, in terms of so many of the elements that is breaching our atmosphere. So what is important is that if we know that this civilization is going to lead to destruction, we have to develop a new civilization. But that civilization is not new actually. Within the perspective of Islam, wherever Islam goes, the civilization of Islam is always to build. We have great Islamic civilization. Wherever they go to any new places, not only that they build on the foundation of the past civilization, for example, the Persian civilization was enhanced with the infusion of Islam, the Byzantium, the Indian. So we leave behind monuments of love, Taj Mahal. We leave behind Alhambra. We leave behind so many beautiful hanging gardens of a balance, of a good way of life. So it's not new. What is important is for us Muslims to reclaim that this atheistic, materialistic civilization that we know today may not last 100 years. 100 years is a very short time. It is within the lifetime of our children, or my grandchildren, or your grandchildren, or your children. If we do not do anything, all of us will be destroyed. So to prevent that, we have to go back to a balance. So the model is within Islam. So we have to practice this within the Ummah first. Because if we want to change the world, we must show that we are the most environmentally friendly Ummah. We are willing to take the challenges of this existential question. We are able to practice the deen with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we have this idea of Islam, heart of love. We must have this heart of love. We must love whatever that good that Allah has given us. That means He has given us a wonderful earth in which we can live and thrive for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, building up civilization after civilization, civilization after civilization, culminating with the Islamic civilization. No doubt we have gone down. Then we have this atheistic, secular materialism for 300 years since the Industrial Revolution, 17th century. Now is the 21st century. Alright, so there's 300 years of manipulating the climate of this earth by burning coal, by burning fossil fuel, oil, diesel, gas, and so on. But this cannot continue because we are taking what was in the store of this earth for billions of years, and then we are putting out in the atmosphere and burning it, and we get energy. Yes, it powers this new so-called modern world. But this modern world is an illusion. It's an illusion. If in the past civilization would last for thousands of years, the Chinese civilization, the Indian civilization, the Persian civilization, the Islamic civilization will last a long time. But this civilization is so destructive. So let's reflect about how we Muslims can act to make this wonderful civilization a civilization with the heart of love. There's not much that we can say because the image of Islam has been utterly and totally destroyed by maybe some of the propaganda by the non-Muslims, as well as some of the so-called Muslims, inverted comma, who acted out of radicalism, out of extremism, out of hatred, out of oppression, out of injustice, out of so many. You can give the whole series of why we are in this doldrum, why we Muslims are downtrodden, why. There will be no end to that why. But if we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this last phase of this civilization, that we fill our hearts with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love of our family, our children, the love of our neighbor, the love of all humanity, the love of this planet Earth, the love of all good that Allah has given us. We're filling up ourselves with humbleness and gratitude, filling ourselves with a sense of purpose and meaning to do something good on this earth, to be the true and sincere servant of Allah. That is the real meaning in which Islam in the 21st century can provide the world. So we can provide a model, because we are not muddling through by being agnostic or not believer or atheistic and so on. We have a framework which we can build up, a framework based on the heart of love. And I'm going to elaborate more and more of this understanding, that if we come back to the basis of this deen is from the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is His love for us that we existed. And if we can go back to that deen, we go back to that understanding, we go back to this beautiful civilization that our forefathers has built, was destroyed. But when we come back, we need not call it an Islamic civilization. We can call it a holistic, humanistic civilization, whatever they want to call. But we, by our exemplary living, try to make a difference and not give up. Because our Holy Prophet Muhammad says, when the last day comes and you have a sapling in your hand, plant it. So the last days of this civilization is coming very, very soon. If we don't change, climate change, sea level rise, mass extinction of all species on earth, food shortages and starvation may destroy the known civilization that we know within the next 100 years. Some say 30 years. Wallahu alam. But what is important is for us to try and bring this beautiful understanding of this deen, Islam, with a heart of love, a golden heart that cares for all Allah's creatures, that loves all Allah's creatures, seeking the mercy, the blessing, and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always striving, knowing that we are the Caliph of Allah on this earth, created to worship and honor Allah and all His goodly creatures, knowing that we have to strive to make ourselves good, help others to be good, and make the world good, inshallah.